You sat down to focus. You meant it. Phone away, document open, zero excuses, and then one thought, one small pull. Just let me check one thing. You didn't decide to get distracted. It happened before you could stop it. One tab became 5. 10 minutes became 40. And now you're sitting here wondering how someone who genuinely wanted to focus ended up doing everything except that. This isn't a willpower failure. This is something your brain is actively doing to you. And once you understand the mechanism, you can actually do something about it. The real problem. Most people think focus is a personality trait, something you either have or you don't. So when they can't focus, the conclusion is, I'm just easily distracted. I'm not disciplined enough. I need to try harder. But trying harder doesn't work. In fact, the more you force focus, the more your mind seems to resist it. That's not a coincidence. You're not dealing with a lack of focus. You're dealing with a system that is actively pulling your attention away. These are very different problems, and they require completely different solutions. How attention actually works. Here's what most people get wrong. They think attention is something you hold, like a grip you tighten. Attention doesn't work like that. It's not stable. It's reactive. Your brain is constantly scanning for novelty, reward, stimulation, and anything that carries emotional relevance. And anything that feels more interesting than your current task gets your attention. Instantly, automatically, without permission. Your brain was not designed for sustained focus. It was designed for survival. In that context, the best mental strategy was always notice what's new, a sound you haven't heard before, a movement in your peripheral vision, a change in your environment. That system is still running, except now your environment is producing artificial signals every few seconds. Notifications, new posts, messages, autoplay, the bottomless scroll. Each one is specifically engineered to feel like it might matter more than what you're doing right now. So your attention keeps getting pulled, not because you're weak, because your environment is designed to be stronger than your focus. The loop that makes it worse. Here's the specific mechanism at work. You start trying to focus, but real focus feels uncomfortable at first. It's quiet. It's slow. There's no immediate feedback. Your brain registers that discomfort and starts looking for relief. It finds something easier immediately, a quick scroll, a notification, a tab switch. That gives you instant stimulation, a small reward, and your brain records this. Distraction feels better than focusing. So the next time you try to work, the pull toward distraction arrives faster, stronger, more automatic, until focus feels like something you have to fight for every single minute, not because you got weaker, but because your reward system has been retrained. And over time, even the idea of starting work triggers resistance. Your brain predicts the discomfort before you even open the document. It has already started preparing the escape route. Why it feels like it's getting worse. This isn't your imagination. Your brain is being conditioned to expect constant stimulation. So anything slow, anything without instant feedback, starts to feel wrong, uncomfortable, like something's missing. Sitting with a difficult task feels irritating. Reading a long article feels frustrating. Even sitting quietly for a few minutes can feel unbearable, not because you've changed, because your brain's expectations have. It's not that you can't focus, it's that your nervous system has been trained to find stillness unpleasant. And that training happened gradually without you noticing. The shift. So the real problem isn't, I can't focus. It's, my environment is constantly training me not to. That reframe matters because if focus is a character trait, you're stuck with who you are. But if focus is a response to environment, you can change the environment. Solution 1. Simplify what's around you. Focus doesn't come from force. It comes from reduction. The fewer signals your brain has to evaluate, the easier it becomes to stay on one thing. Every competing input, open tabs, visible notifications, background noise, a cluttered desk, is a micro demand on your attention. On its own, each one seems harmless. Together, they make focus nearly impossible. Don't try to focus harder in the same environment. Change the environment first. One screen, one task visible. Everything else closed, silent, or out of sight. Make it structurally easier for your brain to do the one thing you're asking of it. Solution 2. Add friction to distraction. Right now, distraction is frictionless. One tap, one swipe. Instant escape. That immediacy is exactly what makes it automatic. So break the automaticity. Put your phone in another room, not face down on your desk. Log out of apps so opening them requires an extra step. Set a timer before you're allowed to check anything. Even 2 or 3 seconds of friction between impulse and action is enough to interrupt the automatic loop. Your brain needs that pause. Most impulses don't survive it. You're not trying to eliminate distraction forever. You're making it just inconvenient enough that you have to consciously choose it instead of falling into it. Solution 3. Lower the bar for entry. Don't try to jump straight into deep focus. That's asking your brain to shift gears without a warm-up. Instead, aim for entry. Tell yourself 2 minutes, not 2 hours of intense work. Just sit with the task for 2 minutes. Open the document, read the first paragraph, write one sentence. Focus doesn't begin with intensity. It builds with momentum. The first 2 minutes are always the hardest. Not because the work is hardest there, but because the resistance is strongest right at the start. Most of the time, once you're actually in the work, the pull toward distraction weakens. Not completely, but enough. The hardest moment is always the beginning. You don't lack focus. You're competing with the system that was engineered specifically to take it from you, and it's very good at its job. But here's what changes everything. Once you stop blaming yourself for the distraction, you can start designing against it. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And start asking, what in my environment is working against me? Those are completely different questions. The first keeps you stuck. The second gives you something to actually change. Your brain can focus. It did it all the time before the world got so loud. That capacity didn't disappear. It just got buried under 1,000 competing signals. Clear the space, reduce the noise, and instead of waiting for focus to arrive, make it slightly harder for distraction to win. Next week, we're talking about why habits always seem to fall apart at exactly the same point and what's actually happening inside your brain when they do.